All right, so Angie, if we could do roll call real quick.
Absolutely. Good to see everybody. It's been a while. Okay, Chair Dorsey. Chair Thornton. Diane Foster.
Here.
Mike Meyer.
Here.
Marie Shop. I think she's here.
I'm here. Can you see me?
Oh, okay. Oh, but I'm on my phone tonight. I couldn't connect on my laptop, so everybody's pretty
Very
small.
small. No problem.
Yeah. Mike Schultz.
Here.
Mike Smith.
Here.
Chris West.
Here.
And Lori Zwingli.
Here.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, welcome back, everyone. We had a little hiatus for December, so I'm glad to see everybody's smiling faces and that we're all in reasonably good health. We're going to go into the approval of the minutes. Does anyone have any comments or questions or changes regarding the minutes?
I move that the minutes be approved as presented.
Second.
All right.
Second.
All right. Do we have a motion? Is there any further conversation? If not, all in favor of the approval of the minutes, say aye.
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 All right, all opposed, same sign. Okay, so the motion is carried, and so the minutes will be approved as written. And Angie will get those over to me and Megan for signatures. All right. Now for board member announcements. And we'll start off, I'll just look at my screen and we'll go around robin here. Okay, so Mike Schultz, let's start with you.
I don't have anything to report. Congratulations, Ty, on your new appointment.
All right. And yeah, we'll definitely be hearing a bit from Ty later on. I'm sure he's got a speech and some wonderful news to talk about. So congratulations, Ty, let's say. Mike Schmidt, anything for us? Mike Smith?
Yeah, it's been a while, but again, Ty, congratulations. It was great news to hear. Way back in early December, I had the opportunity to do a ride-along from 8 p.m. to midnight with Officer Corey, and I can never get his last name correct, so Jench?
Jench. Yep.
Yes, okay, good. And Wonder Dog Irma. And then also Officer Christensen. And for those of you that haven't had a chance to do a ride along, I heartily recommend it. These guys were awesome. It was incredibly educational, plus, frankly, a lot of fun. We didn't get into anything scary unless you call a shoplifter at Walmart scary, but it was very, very educational. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. That's all I've got.
All right. Diane?
Nothing really from me, except congrats to Ty. That's very exciting for both the police department and our city.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, Lori?
I've already done mine. That was going to be my announcement about the Police Foundation.
Wonderful. And that was my error. I was prepping you for it, and then it's all taken care of. Excellent. Chris, what do you have for us?
Hi, congrats. And I do have something where I witnessed two of Sherwood's finest engaged. It was 2 Sundays ago, January 9th. Tina and I had a match that Sunday morning at the gun range, and we had a bunch of rain. And anybody that goes down Tonkin, there's that little spot next to the wet area where water was coming into the southbound lane for a long time. Well, this Sunday morning was one of those freezing cold mornings, and the traffic ahead of us had been icing the other side of that dip, and we had a Safeway delivery truck in front of us that got squirrely, and as we rounded that corner coming up to the new construction, there was 3 cars all banged up and smashed up. There was people there starting to address it, but there was no first responders, but people were, we could hear the sirens going. So Tina and I proceeded to the gun range. And then the shoot got canceled because of poor turnout, because they closed down the road, at least one direction. And it was in the 20s. So as we headed out to go home about 9, they were just finishing up towing vehicles away, and 2 of Sherwood's finest had been there with a Washington County deputy dealing with the incident, and they were out there in the freezing cold taking care of business. So appreciate their work, and nobody got hurt, but some cars sure got messed up that morning. That's it, Brian.
Oh, well, thank you for that. Yeah, we did see some banged up cars there along Tonquin. As you said, that area, that stretch has been a doozy for a lot of folks that don't know that dip is there. Thank you. Megan, what do you have for us this evening?
Hi. Thanks for the call beforehand, Brian and Ty. So, a couple things. One, congratulations, Ty. I'm glad of everyone in the search that you got it, especially with our dealings with school, things we've had throughout the year. People that have contacted me, I always appreciate your responsiveness and honesty and genuine care for our families of this community. Second of all, my family just got over COVID last week, and we did everything perfectly the way you're supposed to do for the last 2 years. And then we realized today, it was 3 weeks to the day that we got COVID, that our child was vaccinated. So like end of the 2 weeks of vaccination. So we were excited to realize how well the vaccine worked, that he only had a fever and a sore throat and a cough. Could have been much worse. And we were literally talking 3 weeks difference of time. So that was exciting. And also like that parent scary, oh my gosh, we kind of missed it, which is good because he was almost killed going to school this morning, as was my husband, by the Y at sunset. And Ty's smiling because he realized we just had this big mama bear conversation. But basically a big truck swerved for whatever reason, swerved in front of, let me back up. My family was crossing from the Y up the hill, crossing Sunset. And like I told Ty, I call them pro cyclists. Like my husband rides from Seattle to Portland every year on his bike. Like they know how to ride a bike. And he stopped on his bike and made eye contact with all the drivers. And then as he started to go, he realized this truck, like a delivery truck, a big truck, not a F-150, swerved to not hit a car and passed the car in the right-hand turn lane and literally got close enough to hitting my husband that he got wet and felt the wind from the car and realized his body was safe. His bike was about 8 inches from not being safe. My child thought he had just seen his dad die. So, for all the people on YouTube that are watching, and we know there's like 17 of you, watch the speed. It is a school zone. I wish there was something we could do. I know there's not. But I thank God that we have the SPD that does patrol. And like Ty says, the minute he puts someone on the Middleton Archer Glen route, the Ridges are going to call and have a problem over there. So we know it's all over. But Happy New Year. We're, creeping into 2022 and it's not feeling like a fresh new year yet. So if I'm a little off tonight, guys, that's why. And I really wish as a board member, there was something we could just, enact right away, but there's nothing we can do to fix that spot. So, welcome, Ty.
Thanks.
And I did follow up, just to finish our conversations, gentlemen, I did follow up with the emails that you asked for.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Megan. I know that had to be a heart-stopping moment, and I drive there every day, and I'm always sure to slow way down because, yeah, the lines in the road don't do quite enough, in my opinion.
Well, and now, like I told Ty tonight, there wasn't a 911 issue. Why would I think to call them? I didn't think to call the non-emergency line because what would they do? So I just called Ty and was like, hey, call me back. I want to get patrols out or something. But apparently that is a non-emergency line issue because there might be an issue down the road in Tigard or Tualatin or Beaverton where that truck was seen, and, it's like adding to the list of things they did wrong that day.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. Mike Meyer.
Hey, congratulations, Ty, it's great. I did have one thing I wanted to, kind of along what Chris said, I got to see a couple of our
I think you there, Mike?
Did he freeze or is that just me?
Oh, I think he froze.
He froze.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was.
You okay?
Great.
He's back.
I'm back.
We're back?
Yes. And
No.
not.
Yeah.
All right.
Tell your kids to get off YouTube.
Netflix, whatever it is.
Are you able to hear me now? I turned the camera off.
We can hear you.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Cut down the bandwidth usage. Okay, this last Sunday at my business, two police officers teamed with EMTs to perform some heroic life-saving measures on a customer. And so I got to see it was Officer White, and I didn't know the other officer's name. I really wasn't focusing on that at the time, but they, again, performed some heroic measures on Sunday. So it was, thank you to them and all the EMTs. Was, yeah, good.
Wonderful. Thank you. Marie, welcome. You got anything for us this evening?
Congrats, Ty. I'm sure you're going to hear that a lot. And as we go through Hollywood Squares. Mike, your next ride along, you should do the midnight to 3 a.m. shift because that's when my husband says the most fun happens. I did actually do a ride along with him from 12 to 2 a.m. in Beaverton. And let me tell you, there were some fun calls that I got locked in a car.
Good to know.
He always says nothing good or everything good comes after midnight. And then not the same as your husband, Megan, but I almost was hit again in the crosswalk at Pinehurst and Sunset 2 weeks ago. Made eye contact with this car. I was going across towards my house. I thought I I tried to make eye contact with everybody with the car over here. She was looking at her phone. I tried to make myself really big, middle, 10 a.m. So it wasn't dark, have a dog. And all of a sudden she started coming at me and I jumped back and screamed and she looked at me and looked at her phone and she was like, yeah, it's a crosswalk. You're at a stop sign. So at least she stopped, but didn't actually look to see if she was the right of way. So I don't know what we got to do with drivers, but we need to get them off their phones or paying attention.
Ban them all from Sherwood. No more driving in Sherwood.
No more running. I'll stop running. I mean, I was even in the middle of the day. It wasn't rainy. It wasn't dark. It was middle of the day. Anyway, so yeah, it's
triple our police force so we all have escorts when we walk our dogs and our kids.
I'll get I have the whistle. Maybe I'll just start whistling as I'm going through the crosswalk.
No, we need a big SLR camera to take a picture and be like, I got you.
I know, we were being tailgated on the freeway, and maybe I shouldn't tell this story. We were driving up to Vancouver, and this lady was just awful. And all of a sudden, she went to go around me, and Greg grabs his badge and like puts it against the window as she's flipping him off. And her husband like grabs her hand and like slaps it down, and then they exit. And I was like, we should have followed them, but anyway.
So one thing Ty did say that was helpful in a sad way is that this happens more often than not, and nobody is reporting it. So
Yeah.
maybe what we need to do is actually get
Report
out
it more.
there and
Yeah, that's fair.
to the non-emergency line, at least, all the crap that happens, just start flooding that line. And then Ty's going to be like, no, don't tell anyone anything.
Well, it's out there now. Well, thank you all. I'll just add my 2 cents again, Ty. Thank you very much for your willingness to step into that role. I can tell you all, we had a very robust and thorough search for our police chief, and it was a nationwide search. It was not a situation where Ty walked into this role, and it was such a tight and I felt we really had some good candidates. It was to the point that Ty had to wear a suit and tie. To really get the point across it, he was the guy for the job.
Are there pictures? Do we get pictures?
No.
No?
Man.
Yeah, I didn't screenshot it, else I would have showed it to you guys. But I couldn't be prouder of both the job done to find our police chief, but also how Ty represented himself and represented Sherwood in his in the process as he was going through the process of being nominated for that post and position. So very proud, Ty, to have you now as our formal chief. I know it says interim chief on our meeting notes, our agenda here, but we'll take the interim off there for you. Let us go now to business here. Did I miss anyone I just want to make sure I didn't miss any board member announcements. Any other? No? Got everybody? All right. So, police policy updates.
That's my turn.
Yes.
Okay, so am I gonna can I take a moment here, or do you want me to wait till the end? Obviously I want to address a couple things, or are we gonna do that when we roundtable?
If we could do that actually, no, the floor is yours. I'll let you go ahead and run with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for all the support. It's an honor, and I appreciate Chris and Brian taking the time out to be a part of the process, along with, I think, 13 other people that were on that panel. I've told several people this is a process I never wish to repeat. It was grueling, it was taxing, and I appreciated it. I mean, because, it really stretched me in a lot of ways. I think you can all relate that when you walk out of these things, there are all these things that you wanted to say that you forgot to say until you left, and then you're like, oh man. But the one thing that I know that I got a chance to express was just what a fantastic department this is. The personnel inside and out. I will always beat that drum because I can't tell you how many times they've stepped up to the plate and been there and filled the gaps and just come through time and time again. And if there was anything that I really wanted to express in those interviews, was just that. And I'm honored again to be here. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of fun work. I appreciate this board and the foundation for all the things you do, the volunteer time, the hours that you put in. The sacrifices, you can't be thanked enough. So thank you for that. There's a couple things that I wanted to touch on, and it just in the conversations that we had here just in the last few minutes with the traffic and what we're dealing with. And I know that we're going to be in construction zone mode for the next 3 years. That's where we're at with the 12th and Sherwood and Pacific and all of the challenges that are going to come with it. It's going to challenge us as a group, as a PD, to try and navigate that because, and I think Megan talked about this morning, and even Marie, that people are going to be finding alternative routes through our city, through neighborhoods, and they're not going to be familiar with what's going on. They're not going to be paying attention. They're going to be probably trying to get on their phone to find the next route, the next road, as we have seen. So we're going to really, we're going to pay a lot of attention, as much attention as we can, to those speed zones and to those areas of construction. But we get that it's not only going to be in the construction zones. The impact's going to be in the neighborhoods. It's going to be in these alternative routes. So this brings me to my next point of calling in. If you see something, and though you may not immediately be able to impact it, please call. That's what we're there for. That's our job. And as I relayed earlier, you see a vehicle that's driving carelessly or recklessly or having a close encounter, that gets dispatched over South City. So that's Tualatin, King City, and Tigard officers that are hearing these things. And although that car may have gone through our city, King City may see it, Tualatin may see it, we could potentially prevent, an accident or something catastrophic as a result of just being proactive in that. So do not ever hesitate. Over my career, I've always heard that, well, I didn't want to call. I didn't want to bother the police. I didn't think it was a police matter. That's our job to figure out. You got two numbers, 911 and the non-emergency. Call them. I encourage it highly. And we'll work through it, and we'll figure out the best way to tackle those issues when they come up. But really quickly, we're still hiring. We're down 4. We have job offers out to fill those, but they're all recruits at this point. We're hoping that maybe we're going to have a lateral. I tell you that because, you've heard this. I know Chief Growth beat this drum. I will continue to beat it, that it's a long process. We're talking a year out before we'll see these bodies. DPSST, our police academy, just got shut down for 2 weeks because of COVID. So everything's going to be pushed back. If we're lucky, we're going to probably get these recruits into an academy end of May, 1st of June. So sometime this next year, about this time, we'll see them on the road. I will tell you, though, I am very excited about who we have extended job offers to. I hope it all works out, because I think they're going to be great candidates. I think they're going to be a great fit for what we stand for and the relationships that we have built in this community. And I think they're going to slide right in and be a perfect asset for the PD in this community. So hopefully that all works out. It is a strange time to be hiring, because it's like a bidding war. We are like courting these people. I feel like I'm almost this college coach, knocking on the doors of these athletes, trying to convince them that they need to come here, because there are a lot of agencies out there that are going after the same applicants we are. So definitely interesting times. I talked about the construction speeds, and then we are continuing to deal with, a lot of the thefts, the theft from vehicles, the catalytic converters continue to be a problem for us. We know that they come from outside the city. That's not a secret. They come here, they commit their crimes, and then they sneak back to their embassy of protection, probably just north of us here. But we'll continue to patrol those areas, patrol the businesses as best we can. And I know social media has been very active for us, because we've had some great people working that. I've got a ton of great feedback, and ironically enough, I had an email from a gal that reached out after the press release had gone out about the chief thing, and asked if she'd remembered me, because she wanted to talk to me a couple years ago at the height of the BLM and George Floyd stuff, and it was a great interaction. And she said that she appreciated the social media, and that they practice the 9 p.m. routine regularly now. So it's kind of cool to hear that kind of feedback. So we'll continue to do that. and we'll continue to message out and be as interactive as we can. And I know that Lori I'm just going to call her Lori Caesar. Yeah. I know she already talked about Bowling with a Cop, but that's Monday night. We're going to be there from 4 to 8. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see how we do. And it's a great first step with this event and more to come on that. So with that, I know we got some policies to go through. I know we've done it a few different ways. I'm very open to try and make it as easy to digest and understand as possible. So please give me feedback as we move forward. I didn't realize, and everybody should have gotten the packet that goes through. I think Angie sent those, right, Angie? I think you got the form that I'm looking at. It's like 3 or 4 pages that go through it.
Yes.
Didn't know this existed until, I don't know, a few weeks ago. And I thought, oh my gosh, this might be a whole lot easier for you guys to take a look at this thing. So we'll still go through them because I think it's really important. And I want to tell you one of the things that I've done the last couple times is when these things come out from Lexipol, I will get with SPOA, so the association and the board and all of the sergeants and the leadership here, and we'll sit down and go through all these things because I really think it's important that everybody understands the implications. We're seeing a lot of legislative changes, and I want to ensure that across the board, everybody's in tune. If there's questions or concerns, I'm trying to vet those out. So for you all, we sit down with the officers, or I should say the association and leadership, and go through these as well. So there's just several eyes that have the opportunity to look at this, and if we need clarification or edification on some of this, I really do like the process with it. So so we don't drag on, we'll go quickly. We're going to start with Chapter 3, which is just the standards of conduct, and that's just the duty to intervene and report misconduct. This again came out of 2021 House Bill 2029. And essentially, it reflects on our responsibility to report. And we mended this a little already. This is just a piggyback on it because House Bill 4205 came out. Nothing new and exciting. As a matter of fact, I think at the end there it said there's some punctuation has been corrected as well in that. So, and then in the information technology use, it's another legislative update, House Bill 2936. And this one was made finding that racism has no place in public safety and law enforcement officers hold a unique position. And one of the provisions of the new law, which you can read, is the exempt agency from employer prohibitions relating to social media access. So these are all good things that, I mean, are important things that we're dealing with there as well. Chapter 4 was the contact and temporary detentions. And raise your hand or interrupt me if you have any questions on this. This was just a typographical error. Geez, I can't even speak. For the frisk or pat down searches. Medical marijuana, another House Bill 3369. Attending, it just changed the terms of attending physician to attending provider. Actually, I think we had this one as well in the last one. Foot pursuits resulted in a change in the initiating officer's responsibility. There's some spelling corrections. Gender pronouns have been removed, some commas, nothing of significance other than the grammatical components. Medical aid and response. This is a 2021 House Bill 2523. It's the request for emergency medical services for restrained persons and our responsibilities when we have people detained and when and how we should call for medical personnel. Chapter 8 was the Records Bureau. This is another House bill off of 2932. And it's just saying that we needed to participate in the national use of force data collection, which we already do. So nothing new there. Chapter 10 is the personnel recruitment and selection. And this again came out of House Bill 2936. And it's about background checks and the provisions shared. Peace officers' records obtained for background checks are confidential and require agencies to independently verify information. And then there's some discussion about the social media sites, which we were already working under that umbrella as it was. Chapter 4 again, patrol operations, contacts. And yes, sir.
I read several times that review of social media sites. Could you explain to me what that fully means? I see the shall not has been changed to should not, but
where'd you see the shall not? Where am I missing?
It's on the second bullet under recruitment and selection.
Chapter
the
10.
review of social media sites. They just changed the shall and shall not. I get that.
Oh, I see that. Yes.
But I got lost past that.
Yeah, this
I
one.
wasn't sure what was okay and what wasn't, and what was going to happen.
So I'm going to pull out the policy as it says. So one of the big things with this was employment information from another law enforcement agency is confidential and may not be disclosed except provided under the ORSs of 192.355 was one of the added components in the selection process there. And it doesn't say that probably on the stuff you have. It may be received, or the information received may only be used for investigative leads and shall be independently verified. And then social media, your question, the administrative section commander should not require candidates. It used to say shall. There's a lot of discussion about what people are posting on social media and whether or not we should have the ability to research that or to ask for their passwords. This says should not versus the shall. We have not ever done that. I think that people are posting. We have a pretty good sense of who they are, but that's the clarification for. I mean, you're right. Shall versus should. Where we're with that on that section of it. This does get a little convoluted. There's another one in here that gets a little bit more convoluted that I'll talk about in a minute because we're still doing some research on it. But that was the gist I got out of it, Chris.
Okay.
It's not something that we've done in past practice. What we had worked with and had learned is that some agencies had reservation about giving us background information that they conducted or that they knew about an applicant, and it made it a little bit more challenging because obviously we want to be thorough. We want to know exactly who we're hiring and if there are issues or concerns, and so some of that navigates this, some of it convolutes it, and we'll wade through it a little bit more. If there's something more specific with that, Chris, that I can answer for you, I'm happy to continue to look into it.
I think the biggest issue to me is there's a lot of discussion in the HR world about looking at potential employees' social media. There's a big debate out there on that stuff, whether you should or shouldn't. And I just wasn't totally clear if you guys had a policy on that from what I was reading here. That's where my confusion was.
Yeah.
And my question dovetails on Chris's in that, have you spoken with the city's council, the SEL, not the SCIL, attorney to determine, like, is it normal? Is it okay, kosher behavior for a public entity to research social media? I mean, private companies do it, but there is a difference there. Or would that have been everything Interpol did to get to this policy?
No, I think the issue is, and I think some of the hurdles that people have run into, I've heard it over the years where people have required passwords of their social media sites, and that has created a lot of issues for us. Social media is a public forum, platforms, all over the place that we will jump on. Absolutely. If we're looking at recruits and we're going to get on there and see what they're posting, and we're not going to be asking for their passwords. I mean, as you know, everybody kind of shares their opinions out there. And so we get a pretty good feel for who they are. So Megan, to your point, that's we haven't talked to the council, but I know that this has been something that's brewing in the background for quite some time since social media's hit the front, and who and where, who has the right to ask for these kind of things. And it's and I think some associations across the nation have fought it, because I think there are police departments out there, none that I know of here on the West Coast, but there are that require that. So we'll continue to monitor it. I just don't know if we'll ever get to a point legally where we could ever even require something like passwords. So, but again, Chris, if there's more that I can do to help you on that, let me know, and I'm happy to research it.
No, that was the whole nexus with passwords versus just reviewing online, because there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of chatter in the HR world about whether that's kosher to do. And I'm a little bit old school, and it's public record. It's out there. I'm going to look at it, but I'm not going to use that as my sole reason to hire or not hire somebody. But if they put it out there, I'm going to look at it. So, but
yeah,
I'm in the private sector too.
I think it's fair. Obviously, our standards have to be above board, even that much more so, in the fact that we just want to, I don't know, we're not necessarily digging through, every post of an Instagram or a Facebook or TikTok, but pretty quickly the character of somebody by what they're posting and what they stand for. And obviously, if anything raises a red flag, I'm sure we could dig deeper into, what that means. That's what I think you would want from us. So that's the route we're going to go, and unless we're told otherwise. But again, asking for passwords is just something we don't do.
It's a good thing you don't look at TikTok, or else Greg's dance moves would be.
And just
he'd be fired.
Chief Hanlon, and just to clarify, these changes that Lexipol is recommending to us are as a result of a House bill. So it's basically a mandate of the state. So I would think that it's already been through a legal review, although obviously we want our own attorneys to chime in if we thought something was glaring. But
yeah, great point, Counselor. These are vetted pretty thoroughly before they're sent out. They do come with a generic flair to them, because they aren't necessarily city or county specific, of which we have the ability to, tweak it a little if we wanted to. But for the most part, I can't think of an occasion where we've changed anything other than if we wanted to tighten it down a little more. But these have gone through quite the process to this point. And we have to deal with what is passed in legislation and make the best of it. So, sorry, I forgot where I was. Oh, okay. I think we're on drug and alcohol free workplace, correct? This had no legislative impact. A lot of language changed in this. Nothing that has changed our policy, short of just some terms. And then we are on personnel complaints. This is another one that has some interesting nuances to it, but this is another House bill. Again, 2929 is what is driving this, and it's connected with 4205. And what this one is requiring us to report any sustained complaints of misconduct to DPSST. So then, and DPSST is a state entity that anybody can get those records. So it's a transparency piece. It's just something that we're obligated, and when there's an investigation with any sustained conduct issues, that we send it down to the Academy or DPSST.
So what's a sustained finding?
That we found that the evidence of the allegation was true. And so this is one of the discussions we're having because of the definition of misconduct. And it goes down to I can actually tell you because I've had to look a lot of this up as far as what it means, because minimum standards for employment as law enforcement officers. This is an ORA rule, 259-008-0010, and it talks about some of the components that are tied to this new legislative bill.
So when a sustained finding is that it's been through all the reviews and any appeal type review, and then that's what you're calling sustained finding. That's the final finding. Is that kind of what sustained finding is?
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. Now, so I want to clarify that the misconduct component, it really is, it's capsulated around a lot of use of force is where it's kind of the driving component of this. But it also, it captures if we treat people or this use of force was a result of their race or their religion, their sex, all those things are components to it. So this isn't the officer who backed into the pole and we sustained that, yeah, you weren't paying attention, you backed into the pole and dinged the car up. That kind of stuff doesn't go to the Academy. It's the things that we care about. It's the officer's conduct and what they're doing and the expectation when they're dealing with the public, and really grounded in the use of force and the treatment of people. So of course those investigations will be conducted, and then if we sustain it and it meets these standards of misconduct within the statute, then we send it down to DPSSD. Yes, Mike. Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you. Sorry. Is this kind of aimed at when you're looking at a candidate that is a potential lateral? Do you go to DPSST and review if there's anything there regarding that officer in his past employment?
So, that's a great question because this is all new. I'll be interested to find out, what kind of accessibility we'll have as background investigators to do that. Typically, in our background investigations, we go to those agencies. They have all those personnel files. They have all those internal investigations that typically we have access to. So we'll generally be able to learn all those with the agency that they're at, if there are there. But that's a great question. I don't know if this will be something where we can double check just to make sure that we're not missing anything, which would be a great point. But like I said, all agencies are supposed to keep all these records, especially internal affairs that result in something of that significance going to DPSST.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, personal appearance standards. This is House Bill 2935, and it just amended essentially, and you can get down to the bottom there. It's unlawful to discriminate based on the race, and the law amends the definition of race to include physical characteristics associated with race included, but not limited to natural hair, hair texture, and protective hairstyles. So it just, if somebody has a specific hairstyle, we can allow it in our personal standards. Over the years, personal standards in law enforcement have evolved. There was a day when I started where you were very clean shaven. Obviously, I'm not now. But mustaches were very haircuts, just the way you look, your presence, and tattoos were clearly not a part of law enforcement. And so we continue to evolve and adapt, and this, these are good things because I really enjoy the character of people and what they bring. So that was just something that was brought up last year as well. Employee speech and expression and social networking, House Bill 2936. To adopt, it just requires us to adopt policies that set standards for speech and expression by police officers. Obviously, this is something that was stemmed by ensuring that our officers are not out there and their conduct is in line with what we expect, and it falls with discrimination and race and all the important things that we want to ensure our officers are not representing as an organization. And so this is another best practice that has been put in place, and I'm confident and I'm proud that our officers represent us in the highest regard with that. So a lot of these things, I read and I appreciate, but I'm so thankful for who we have and what we do.
Ty, do you monitor the social media to keep up the what you're talking about, the character test basically of existing employees? I mean, we were talking about it in the hiring realm, so then it made me think okay, so does someone still monitor what officers say in social media because that is a representation of their position on the force?
We do not have a policy that mandates that, but I can tell you that because the generation and the people that we're hiring are all on social media, I think they self-monitor one another because we hear about people post this or post that, and nothing that's egregious, nothing that's even remotely comes to what we're talking about here. But there's always comments, and we hear about it. I'm on social media quite a bit, so I'm always interested in the officers' lives. And again, I go back to my last statement. I just think we have a great group of people that, I don't worry about it, but I'm not naive either. We're not naive, and we recognize that, people can make mistakes or do things, and so we would certainly address it. With that, I think I'm done. I appreciate the questions there, Chris, and these are always good. I like these conversations because that didn't come up with SPOA or in our previous one. Sometimes we just kind of we'll blow through some of those because we're so used to them, but it's good for us to take a moment, and I appreciate that.
This document was great too, Ty. It was very helpful.
Okay, good. All right. I mean, if you guys like that, like I said, I had no idea this existed on Lexipol. I was extremely happy. So if this works for you, and obviously as I kind of settle into my role here, we'll fine tune all this, and hopefully it'll be a well-oiled machine.
So the one question I have, all these changes were generated because of the legislation and tweaks by Lexipol. You didn't have any of your own internal tweaks this time, right?
Nope. No. I'll probably have one coming up in this next go around with just the dogs, but that one's easy. But yeah, most of these are generated by all of Lexipol. It's challenging enough to keep up with everything that's changing. So, as a matter of fact, as these 10, I just saw another 7 dumped in. So we'll probably have more next time. Sorry.
Well, thank you, Chief. This was, again, as Chris said, very helpful, and I like it was streamlined, sort of a strainer, if you will, of all of the different verbiage that we normally see, that we have to sort of ourselves self-identify what's important and what's not. I like how this sort of spells it out. It keeps our conversation flowing on what's important.
Well, I like to make sure, and I appreciate it, I like to make sure that that it's clear and you understand where we're at and where we're going, and just some of those steps that we're taking. Really quick, the last thing I want to tell you, we talked about traffic safety and where things were at, and I forgot to mention this. Our traffic safety officer, just because I know you guys kind of like to hear some numbers, last month on 12th and Sherwood alone, he wrote 81 cell phone citations. 81. And
what's a normal month? Is that not normal?
Oh, well, that was 81, and that was just who he could get to.
Oh.
So I'm sure we've kind of gotten lax with our distracted driving and cell phone use. I see more people all the time on their and just blatantly. I mean, nobody's, you used to see this, where they're trying to talk like this. I mean, I see people full on with their phone up to their ear, and it's difficult because of all the traffic in Sherwood for officers to even get to them. You risk crashes just to try and get to some of these things. But it's a pretty staggering number, considering he's not working that all
That's
day
a lot.
long.
That's a lot.
Well, and to be clear, the law is handless driving, right? Like, you should not from one car.
Not earless, right?
But like, you should not from your car be able to see me touching my phone, period, in my car.
It's too bad
no
that the
touch.
cameras
Is that
can't
right?
catch that. Wait, I wish the cameras, maybe I shouldn't wish this, the cameras could catch people on their phones.
They do quite a bit. It's just not a part. Legislation wasn't willing to
go there.
That component of that. So you do see quite a bit of that in violations with people on their phones, but they're not cited for it.
Got it.
And then just he wrote over 120 citations just in the month, and this is just one officer, and so there's a lot going on, and kind of just back to we're going to try and be as vigilant as we can in enforcing these things, because with all the traffic, with all the congestion, and
But the phones are like no touch, right?
No touch, no touching.
Yeah, no touchy and the snowy.
Yeah, I gave you this because this used to, when the law first came out, everybody tried to talk like this, tried to keep it down low, and then, or they had it, under their seatbelt, or, people were creative.
I haven't seen that one.
I gave them that, creativity, but it's disappointing when people are just blatantly act like there was no law. And so we'll continue to be on that. I know that the officer he's all over it. So
for him.
Can you tell us about the speeding ticket that was posted on Facebook yesterday?
Yeah, 30 miles per hour over the speed limit. Like, damn.
Yeah. Ooh.
That is.
Was that 99 or Roy Rogers? 12th and Sherwood.
12th and Sherwood. They were going that fast in 12th and Sherwood.
How the hell did they do that?
It must have been like at midnight, because you can't go that fast during the day.
Like, I'm lucky if I hit 27 on that road.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. It got posted. Again, I kind of got out of the way of the social media people, and I saw that and I was like, oh, all right. Unfortunately, it happens more than we care to admit. I mean, there's people get in a hurry. Again, the construction, I think, facilitates that. The road rage, people are all of a sudden thought they were going to be on time, and now they're delayed. And so we'll continue to work on it. Anyways, I know I've taken up too much time, so it's all yours, Brad.
That's perfectly okay. That segues right into our next topic, traffic safety update.
Don't we have to do a motion to sign off on what we just reviewed?
Oh,
yes.
All right. Well, do we have a motion?
Mike?
I move that we accept everything that we just talked about in the policies.
Is there a
Second.
second?
Is that broad enough?
That's good enough.
That is good. All right, all in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye. All
Aye.
opposed, same sign. Hearing none, it is so moved. Proceed to accept those changes as written. All right, wonderful. All right, I apologize for that. Well, thank you. And now we'll jump into our traffic safety update.
I'll jump in. Do you want me to jump in, Lori? I don't think there's much of an update because our November meeting fell on Thanksgiving and our December meeting was canceled just, because a lot of people with vacations. So I would assume that there's probably still openings on that board or that committee, TBD, once we have our next meeting next week. So we'll probably dive back in and have more information for you at our February meeting.
Understood. Thank you for that. Appreciate that, Diane. All right, counselor news. Hi, Kim. Counselor Young.
Hello. We
Hello.
did just appoint Thursday night a new member to the Traffic Safety Committee, a Lisa Patterson. So you have a new member.
Oh.
I don't know how many openings there were, but you got one filled. And then as far as city council, right before this meeting, I was in a budget meeting, and that means welcome to budget season. We will be, all the city staff will be working hard on the budget for the new city manager to present to us for our budget meetings coming up in May. And then prior to that, what helps the city manager create the budget is our council goal setting session. So I think that is tentatively scheduled. I haven't heard a confirmation yet for February 4th and 5th. So a Friday night and a Saturday, however long Saturday needs to go. So like a short 4-hour Friday night and then a Saturday. So that's always a great time. We get the council together and staff, department heads come and we all just sort of work together to come up with goals for the next coming year. And then kind of another exciting thing, I don't really have a lot to report on, but you've probably heard me talk about economic development. We've been talking about it for years on how important that is to this city council, but the results are really coming to fruition. So I'm sure Walton Sherwood Road, you've seen lots of building going on down there. We had Lamb Research move into one of the buildings, and right across the other street, we've now got word that it looks like a potential technology / advanced manufacturing company is going to move into that like 62,000 square foot building. So that's just huge for Sherwood to be getting these jobs, living wage jobs where people can live in Sherwood, work in Sherwood. Like 92% of our workforce leaves Sherwood to go to work. So, and it helps the businesses coming to Sherwood, helps our diversify our tax base, which has also been a goal of ours for a couple of years. Then the other thing I was just going to touch on from an earlier conversation, and just to clarify with Ty, if one of us needs to report an incident like Megan was talking about this morning with her family, although we have direct ties to Chief Hanlon or some other police officers, and we can make those calls, we still really need to go through non-emergency, right? Because it's so important for us to have a record of that. And when Chief Hanlon will be giving annual reports on how many calls they've received and how much proactive work versus, that kind of stuff, that just to get that logged. And then you can still call Chief Hanlon and say, hey, just so you know, this is what happened today, but I already called it to non-emergency. I did my job. So, and then I was just going to ask Ty, what are we looking at promoting somebody else to take the captain role?
Yes. So real quick, I want to back up to your point. Thank you for bringing that up, because our calls for service really help generate the need or no need for more officers and where we need to spend our time. So I appreciate the phone calls. I will always take them, but yeah, calling non-emergency or emergency is a great way for us to identify that, and it gives me ammunition per se, so that I can go in and lobby for and justify the needs that we have for the police department moving forward. So with that, we're in a unique spot because we're down 4 bodies, and 4 bodies is, am I still here?
Now you are.
Okay. Did I just talk to myself for the last 2 minutes?
No.
Okay.
No, just you ended with the emergency calls, and then you were going on to the next subject, and then we never heard anything.
Okay. And so to your point about the captain's role, yes, absolutely, we want to fill it. The problem is just being down 4 officers. There's a ripple effect for any kind of movement, or even looking outside. We'll probably open it up internally and externally for that position, but that's still going to take time. That is probably maybe May or June. I'm hoping that somebody will be on that role. I wish I could, make some movements and adjustments inside, but when I do, it's pulling from patrol, and that's where we're down right now. So I wish, but we'll get there.
And that's all I had, unless anybody had any questions for me.
Ty, do you want me to still call and report this to the non-emergency line?
No, you don't need to. I got it. But it's just good. It's a good reminder, and we will utilize this as just a reminder on Facebook too. Non-emergency, emergency, and the importance of using them. And then again, always welcome to call me. But after.
And Megan, I definitely wasn't trying to make that point. You just had a great example of how to bring that in the conversation of our service calls, and how those help inform our decisions for staffing. And so.
Which I didn't realize. So if I ruled the world, I would have an SRO in every school, and probably like 3 traffic cops at every school between, 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. And then again, noon to 4, something like that. But I don't apparently rule the world.
But I get what people say, right? I've even said it. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to. They're so busy doing other things, but
I didn't think that. But I thought, what is an emergency about this? Nothing. My family is safe in a school and safe at home, so that eliminates 911. If I call the non-emergency line, it's like, hey, just want to let you know this happened. It's almost like a form would be, or like, here's the email address, like, write the story, here's what happened, FYI. I'm like, when I called before about my car being broken into, they assigned a case number. They wanted to know, like, itemized what was there before, what wasn't there, what happened exactly, how did I decide my car had been broken into. And I'm like, I don't have any of that, so how would that be of use to anyone? I didn't realize it would factor into, we had X amount of traffic, issues this year, and we could really use a 2nd or 3rd traffic cop, for example. That's news.
Ty, I think that's a good point about putting it on. They had the team put it on Facebook I just put the number in my phone. I just looked it up. I didn't even know where the number was, and so I just looked it up. It's not even a 503 number. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a weird number, and it goes
501-835-1425. Like, it's just a weird.
No. Hold on.
When you, okay, maybe I'm looking in. Sherwood, Arkansas. That doesn't gonna help.
Hey Marie, here it is. Ready?
That's not gonna help me. They don't care.
Marie, it's 503.
Yeah.
625.
Okay.
5523. And it goes to, and it's not like you're going to ring in at our local SPD.
I've called them before, just not Arkansas. But yeah.
So
they might be a little slow to respond.
Let me clarify on that number. What the number I want you to call is 503-629-0111.
Okay.
That goes directly to Washington County Dispatch.
Okay.
That's not an emergency number you want to use. The number that Megan gave goes to our office here.
Okay.
And Angie or Sabrina may answer it. It will route you to there eventually, but 6290111 or 911 are the numbers you want to utilize.
Okay.
After you've made that call, if you want to, call me or call the 625 number, you can. And don't call Arkansas, because I can't tell you how many times people call from there. And it's
I bet.
they call us, and I'll pick up the phone because they want to talk to somebody. They want to complain about somebody.
Yeah.
And I hear the accent,
Arkansas, yeah.
and I'm like, "Are you calling Sherwood, Oregon, or Sherwood, Arkansas?" And they're like, "Oh my gosh!" So
Wait, did you say 6290111?
correct,
Yeah.
for non-emergency.
Good to know. I put that in my
Yeah.
phone, but I think that's a good call out to put it on the Facebook and the interwebs, because I don't think people know, this would be a good number, a good thing to call, right? Like these are why you call these numbers.
Yes.
Oh, shoot.
Excuse me. Cleared my throat there. All right.
Sorry, I accidentally called it.
Now they're going to call
I'm
you
trying
to get a problem.
I'm trying to fix my phone so the favorite changes from the 625 to the 629, and in doing so, I just called.
Well, we'll apologize to Arkansas right now for any miscommunication on that. Thank you again, Chief. And you went over the staff reports, and I've sent a couple people your way, so hopefully some of the folks that I've sent your way get into some positions. That would be great.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Angie, do we have any citizen comments tonight?
No, we don't have any tonight.
All right. Well, everyone sends their congratulations. Ty, I'm sure you're seeing it on the social media. The city is really happy and proud to have you on board as our full-time chief and not interim chief, but as you're settling in. So we're really excited to see where Sherwood continues to go with regards to our public safety and how we take care of our citizens here. All right. Was there any other news or information that the board would like to share? Before we adjourn?
I think Mike Smith has his hand up. Oh, and so does Chris.
Okay, go right ahead.
I beat you, Chris.
Go ahead, Mike.
Ty, Megan mentioned the possibility of extra police patrols at schools during going to and coming from times. And I can just let you know that the school it's close to Sunset and Main, Archer Glen, we need no police patrols there because the civilian traffic monitors have got that intersection well under control. Trust me, they're evil, mean, and vicious, but they got it handled.
Can
My
they
mom
move down
was
the
one of
road
those
towards
people
Middleton?
and was almost hit multiple times. And you're right, she got really mean and really vicious and hit many cars with her pole. So they got trained well to stop people from being naughty.
Ty, there's a mama bear for you.
Yeah, that's good to know. I was not aware of that. So
All right, Chris, go
Ty, a couple months ago, you said you had challenged your Facebook officers to double. Well, they're moving that way. They're almost 7,000 followers now, so that's pretty cool. But I noticed tonight our SRO did a big post on sexting. And that was really important, but it was a little long, a little too wordy. And that's just some feedback that could have maybe been a little tighter. I'm not suggesting, but it was long.
I haven't looked at it. Is it like a book?
Not quite, but it's it's good stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's very good, important, timely stuff, but
Well, I'll tell you, it's getting read because that is all over the mom's pages and everything. So even if it's long, the information was important, and the moms and the parents are very appreciative. So it's brought out a lot of good discussion threads.
Yep.
Chris, I've seen you post longer Facebook posts. So for you to think,
Well, and given this subject, I think being a parent of a child who's 9, it kind of needed to be long to, I'm looking through it now, to go through all of the parts of it. It's not just like, hey, dudes, your children are being inappropriate, knock it off. It's no. Here's the law that goes with it. It falls under child pornography. We will keep their phone forever. Like, they don't get to, you don't get to go to school, Mrs. Thornton, and say, Parker was a jerk and we took his phone and you as the mom get the phone back. No, that phone's gone forever. And here's why it's gone forever. And, you think your 16-year-old is in a great romantic relationship, but then these pictures get someplace they shouldn't, and now a career has an issue. And so I get why he felt the need to go through step by step all these things, and I think it's important. Is there, if you shortened it, put a link on it and said go to this Google Doc, no one's going to do that. But it might have been one that for you it's like save and read later because it's long, but I don't know. I think it's appropriate.
I'm looking at it right now, Chris. I get what you're saying, and I think one of the things, I think this was probably something that he was feeling passionate about to get out, and so that would. I do like, that he's gonna. I didn't read the whole thing. I just scrolled down to the thing that he's going to post some more things. Some more educational pieces, which I think will be good, and we'll get a little bit more concise and on point with follow-ups with that. But I do appreciate the feedback. I know that we're trying to keep it. We're trying to keep people engaged. I know that sometimes if I see a long post, I don't necessarily read it because I like pictures.
But we didn't want pictures.
No pictures.
Not that, but. Geez, I'm backing out now. Time to go.
There was a picture at the very bottom.
Stoplight. That would be too long for me to sit at a stoplight reading that post. I couldn't scroll.
Down low on your lap.
Right. Or on my shoulder under the seatbelt. I don't know if I could read it fast enough.
Siri, read me this story.
Yeah.
Well, I really think these type of posts just show the connection that the Sherwood Police Department has with the community. It's called social media for a reason. It's social, and it's a way for us to get messages out there, and having it coming directly from the police department, I think, is phenomenal and gives it that much more credibility than if one of us just posted it on our site, right? I mean, who's to say we know what we're talking about? But when you've got a SRO in the schools saying this is what we're seeing, we can believe it. And I think it's great. All right.
I think it's sad it's in middle school, though. Middle school. Oh,
it's bad. I mean, it's bad.
Well,
it's bad.
And he signed it happy parenting. Oh.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. If you haven't had a chance to meet Officer Wolfer and you see him out and about, especially if you have kids in school, take a moment to introduce yourself. He's very passionate about this position, and again, he's like one of these high energy, just very involved, and really is looking out for the best interest of the kids. And I'm really happy he's there. I think I can speak on behalf of just the community in general, that he's a great fit for our community and for the school. So,
is he going to all the schools?
He's primarily at the high school and then to the middle schools. I mean, there's a lot of work involved in as an SRO, and so I know he tries to get where he needs to as much as he can, but he spends a lot of the time at the high school, and then obviously when these things come up, that he goes to the middle school or wherever he needs to. So, thank you again for the feedback, and hopefully we're going to hit that 10,000 here soon, because I keep pressing them, Chris.
All right. Okay. Well, if there is no other comments for tonight's meeting, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
a second.
All right. Well, this meeting is hereby adjourned. I want to thank you all for your time. You are all volunteers. We are all doing this out of our love and passion for our community. And I salute you all for that. Thank you again, Chief, for joining us and for providing this wonderful information and the great work your team over there is doing. Thank you, Lori, for that information about what the foundation has got coming up. And again, Monday, go ahead, say it one more time.
Monday, the 24th at Langer's, over at Langer's Fun Center from 4 to 8. You can come get your bowling alley and your shoes and get yourselves all set up and request to bowl with an officer who will come over and bowl with you.
Awesome.
Can we finish our motion and officially, like, all in favor adjourn the meeting? So we're not in
Yes.
trouble.
We most certainly can. All in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye.
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 All right. All opposed, same sign. Meeting is now officially adjourned. Thank you, Megan.
Perfect.
Now we can just chat.